Now, David, can high levels of vitamin C lead to overactive wound healing and fibrosis, like 3,000 milligrams a day? I haven't heard of that. No, not with the standard vitamin D that we buy as a supplement. And Howard, what about vitamin E? This is a good one because it's been on the page. Recent JAMA article actually showed worsening of cancer. There was a recent study about vitamin E with prostate cancer, and the trouble with the vitamin E that's available, I think, is that it's the D-alpha tocopherol, and that hasn't been shown to be as effective as vitamin E in its natural state has about 5 or 6 types of vitamin E. So when you use a single agent, it's just like using beta-carotene. There's a big enthusiasm of beta-carotene for lung cancer and smoking. But what they found was that when they gave smokers beta-carotene, the incidence of lung cancer went up. And the only thing that I've seen in terms of supplements worse than cancer outcomes is with smokers who take pure beta-carotene. On the other hand, I've seen lots of studies of lung cancer patients having lots of vegetables with tons of carotenoids and having huge effects, smokers are not, in reducing and improving the cancer outcomes along with chemo. So even when people are actively smoking lots of vegetables and vegetable juices, improved recovery. And this very small subgroup, pure beta-carotene, as an extract of all the carotenoids, didn't, it made it worse. So you can't just take one of a particular plant group. And so vitamin E tocopherols show up in nature as a multiplicity. There's gamma tocopherol, there's D-alpha, there's 6 of them altogether. So how much vitamin E? We actually recommend that you get most of it from your food, maybe 200 units a day of a mixed tocopherol. There's a lot of individual stuff. Often people take supplements because they think it's a good thing for it, and then they take too much. Studies that have actually shown vitamin D given in a randomized way to people with a certain amount for a certain outcome, these are called randomized controlled trials, have shown some benefit for vitamin E. So I think a lot depends on how much you take. There was a systematic review not that long ago that showed that there's still, and that was 2 years ago, benefit for taking vitamin E with prostate cancer. The question is how much. I would get it mainly from foods, and again, we don't recommend soy milk so much as tofu or tempeh or miso. Also, it's a fermented soy product like a miso soup. Those are the ones we recommend. In soy, there's a few brands that are around here that are useful. There's some of the ones in Vancouver are made by some traditional Asian companies that you can find them, and they have organic brands there. And there's a product that's shipped around the country that actually comes from the U.S. made by Eden. They have a lot of the canned beans as well. It's the things they do. They don't use plastic liners in their cans either. So just because it's the one that across the board seems to be very fussy, not only about like contaminants from the environment like the plastics, but also they have an organic product and they do it all in the traditional Japanese way. So the Eden line, because it's available across the country. Those would be okay, including soy milk. And again, another one for Robert, the recent study of vitamin E. There's also a study at the same time, and again, if you take a multiple, it's harmful. So this is what I've seen, folks, I'll be straight with you, is that I don't take a multiple myself. I eat really a lot of great foods. I take fish oil, I take vitamin D. Occasionally I'll take a B complex if I'm going to do some stressful thing, but I don't take it daily. I take turmeric, which is a superfood. Occasionally I'll take some other things. A lot of it I work with diet. And so what I found is a lot of people who come in to see me who actually have got health problems, and they come in, they'll often be taking a multiple, for example. And multiples from the point of view of, if you look at the content, in one pill you can't get enough nutrients. So on the other hand, they're either too little, so they're not going to have much of an effect. I don't think they're that effective to take a multiple. Although there are studies that show that some people who take them, some studies show that they're okay to take a multiple. It confers a bit of benefit. There's a lot of studies out there. But if you're just taking a multiple, that's not enough. Particularly if your lifestyle habits are not good and you take a multiple to make up for the sins that you're committing dietarily, then it's not going to be good. If you were looked at a study of people who took multivitamins, and a lot of those people could be people who, it's like a syntax, they take a multiple, you're going to be looking at a population. We do a population study. Those are taking are actually doing it not because they're living well, but because they're not. And automatically you're going to skew it into negative territory. So I talked about this with some of my research colleagues, and that's one of the dangers of epidemiological research, the motivations, and we can just pick these up and buy them ourselves. So if we're feeling a little guilty, we'll take a supplement. That's different than a plan that involves rice supplementation along with a high quality diet. So that's where we come from. Still not steady in the Globe and Mail. If you had selenium with vitamin E, and often in nature occurs in that sort of context, then there was no negative effect. How about CoQ10 from Jerry? I make a capsule with garlic powder, black pepper, and turmeric, which I take after dinner. Is this helpful? Yeah, I mean, garlic has got good anti-cancer effects against prostate cancer for sure. Black pepper and turmeric go together and having an anti-inflammatory effect and anti-cancer effect. So I think a capsule of that, which is superfoods, different than taking a vitamin mineral supplement. Superfoods are just handy ways of taking certain foods, and spices are in powdered form and therefore easy to take in capsule form. So no problem. And again, from Sheng, the soya drink and tofu, but I think I mentioned the ones that I thought would be okay. The ones that are made traditionally, and I mentioned just because this is across the country, this telecast, the Eden brand is available across the country, and it's from the soy is all grown in farms in the Midwest and in southern Ontario, and I think the company's in Minnesota. And then Greg, should one increase supplementing with vitamin C ascorbate along with the numerous information you've provided? We don't recommend too much more than 1,000. Taken orally for individual cancer, although up to 3,000 is fine. It can help with wound healing. It does help the immune system in certain ways. It definitely doesn't have any negative effects at that level. And we don't necessarily recommend vitamin K. Actually, when you take kale as a cruciferous vegetable, a very potent cruciferous vegetable, kale, it has vitamin K in it. And vitamin K is good for effective blood clotting, and it's also good for solid bones. It's a component in making healthy bones. So you'll get it in those green vegetables. It's a great pleasure for me to talk to my peers, men, many of you my age, about this disease. I would say that with the work that Ornish has done, and even in my own experience with prostate cancer, I see men with early prostate cancer significantly slowing down the progression of the disease. Now, the urologist would like, if I look at the data and I look at the research that talks about urologists in general, they talk about early prostate cancer would like men to do more watchful waiting, but they get nervous and they just want to have it out. But of course, the earlier you have it out, then the earlier the side effects, which may come along with the procedure, right? So I'm finding that, along with Dean, that when you combine exercise, stress reduction, high-quality diet, that old hunter-gatherer diet, with the emphasis on the vegetables and the fruits, not so much in the meats, there's a bit of an adjustment here. Fish would be a great food, occasional meats. As Irvin Schreiber talks about in his book, and having a farm myself, which I run organically, there's a big difference between feedlot meat, for example, versus animals that are grass-fed. Ruminants like cows weren't meant to eat grains. You know, it's just the surplus of certain grains and the combines that have allowed us to change agriculture from the way that the cows were fed basically hay, straw. And they might get a treat of a bit of grain occasionally because we didn't have enough to go around to feed the animals. So ruminants on a grass-fed diet, so grass-fed beef would be just like having elk or buffalo, you know. You could have that in moderation. Of course, none of the cancers do well with processed meats. You can have some occasional lamb. Chicken, it seems to run pretty well for all diets, but the healthier the chicken, the better. So pre-range chickens that aren't fed antibiotics and medications would be a good way to go there as well. So those are the recommendations that I have, basically, like Dean Ornish, you know, taking care of yourself, getting outside for your exercise to get exposed to sunlight, having fun, enjoying life. We have a laughter yoga program at our place because we believe in the power of laughter. It raises endorphins, helps the circulation, and I think makes our immune system smarter. I know a lot of people who've had advanced cancers have gotten better just by, instead of being afraid of the disease and the whole experience, they just started enjoying their life and everything that they took for granted before, make it a priority in their lives and living, as Dean said, in the full joy of life. That in itself has been a turnaround for them. Again, integrative cancer care is a lot about dialogue and discussion. I have a lot of stories of healing, and I think in the old days we used to talk about them. In this case, at least, I know they happened, right, because I do research in it. And there's more the lesson of what the person does. Often they do certain things, but it's often the change in attitude that makes a difference. A transformational change, we look for that. It's the person knows suddenly when things start to go better, they feel better, they sleep better, they're getting stronger, right? And along with the treatments, the disease is getting weaker. So whole person care isn't just about believing the supplements although they're important, and although if you go online, you figure that's going to be the whole answer. The supplements can be useful, but they're not as important as the other things I'm talking about. The power of the diet, the food is medicine. It always was for us. I know I live on a small island on the Pacific coast. I know some fellows there who've been in advanced cancer, actually beyond hormone blocking, beyond radiation, beyond surgery, who were in bone metastases, who were in end-stage cancer. One fellow turned his life around just by going back to his ancestral farm on the island and growing his own food and believing in it. And just he went into remission. Remissions occur at any stage. What we're finding now is throughout the whole trajectory of cancer, the more you take care of yourself, the more likely you are to get a better outcome. We have a colleague who does at the University of Chicago, Block is his name, and this Dr. Block works with 3 other oncologists, provides an integrated program like we do, and is getting substantial improvements with advanced cancers and survival. Doubling, so he got his breast cancer results published in the Breast Journal, which is a peer-reviewed journal, showing that taking an integrated approach on top of conventional therapies definitely suggests you do conventional therapies. He does them in his own center. But adding these things in actually doubles survival. He says he's got the same results for prostate, colon, and lung. It takes quite a while to publish data like this, and also especially such hugely robust data as a doubling of survival in terminal cancer cases. The average good chemo drug, and all the chemo drugs are tested in stage 4 terminal cancer, is a 5% improvement. That's considered good news when it's failed all other treatments and the tumor is spread throughout the whole body. The doubling is unheard of, but that just shows the power of what you can do when you take care of yourself. At Inspire Health, we have data of our practices here where we haven't been able to work synergistically until now with the regular cancer community, but we will be able to do that. And we hope that we're going to be able to sort of get the same results that Dr. Block does in his work with his own oncologists and providing a truly integrated approach for cancer patients here and hopefully throughout Canada. You can look up Block stuff. It's www.blockmd.com. Very interesting site because he's a professor of medicine at the University Medical School. He's got a building the size of the Victoria Cancer Center, and he gets these amazing results by adding the things we're talking about with you guys tonight. And so we do that too, and we'll have more information coming from this source. And hey, by the way, if you want a rerun of this, just send your comments in. I'd be glad to do it in the proper fashion.